Phnom Penh these days is not only suffocating under the harsh tropical sun, it is burning with a far more dangerous and destructive heat. An invisible fire is spreading through society, one with greater destructive power than any conventional weapon. It is the fury of the people erupting across social media platforms from Facebook to TikTok. At the center of this storm, one phrase is being whispered, repeated, and finally shouted like a curse aimed directly at those in power. Article 440 of the Cambodian Criminal Code: when the king commits a crime, he is punished like a commoner. There was a time when the name Hun Sen and the Hun family were revered as guardian deities of the nation. They were credited with resurrecting the land of temples from the ashes of the Khmer Rouge genocide, restoring peace and stability after unimaginable horror. That legacy once served as an impenetrable shield for the ruling Cambodian People's Party, CPP, anchoring its political legitimacy for more than 4 decades. But political history is merciless toward those who fall asleep on power. Today, the very people who once worshipped the ruling family are turning back with the criminal code in hand, pointing directly at Article 440 and asking a chilling question. If land is lost, should the king or the prime minister go to prison just like an ordinary citizen? This is no longer a routine political debate or an economic grievance. It marks the beginning of a bitter reckoning, a crisis of legitimacy. The legal weapon once crafted to suppress enemies of the regime is now transforming into a noose tightening around the necks of those who wield power. The spark that ignited this wildfire was a series of undeniable military failures along Cambodia's western border. The Dangrek mountain range, long regarded as a natural defensive wall of Khmer territory, has become the stage for humiliation. While state media continues to broadcast reassuring messages about peace, friendship, and the steadfast strength of the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces, realities on the ground tell a starkly different story, one of devastation and disgrace. Thailand has executed a calculated and ruthless strategy of incremental territorial occupation. Hundreds of shipping containers were transported to the border and stacked into fortified steel walls, physically dividing land and transforming disputed zones into irreversible facts on the ground. These container walls are not merely physical barriers preventing Cambodians from accessing ancestral land. They are stark symbols of unilateral sovereignty imposed by force. The most tragic and immediate consequence of this strategy has been the complete erasure of 3 once prosperous border villages. Under military protection, Thai bulldozers and heavy machinery advanced without mercy. The roar of engines became a sound of terror as homes were crushed, farmlands leveled, and livelihoods obliterated. Within hours, thousands of Cambodian citizens found themselves homeless, refugees on their own soil. Images of elderly villagers staring blankly at ruins, children crying uncontrollably, families erecting makeshift tents at the forest's edge while gazing at what used to be their village, now nothing but flat wasteland, have ignited nationwide outrage. To the public, the government's inability or unwillingness to stop Thai bulldozers was seen as the ultimate betrayal. But instead of confronting reality and rallying national unity, Phnom Penh's propaganda apparatus committed a fatal mistake. It underestimated the intelligence of its own people. As images of Thai soldiers planting flags, container walls rising, and bulldozers destroying homes spread virally online, the Ministry of Information and government spokespeople hastily denied everything. They claimed the footage was AI-generated deepfake content, fabricated by hostile forces seeking to divide ACN. This clumsy explanation poured gasoline on the fire. Cambodians today, especially the younger generation, are not the information-starved peasants of the 1990s. They grew up with smartphones, know how to verify sources, use VPNs to bypass censorship, and can distinguish AI fabrications from real footage. The lies transformed territorial loss into something even more enraging, an insult to public intelligence. One viral comment read, "Do you think we're blind? Our homes were bulldozed, and you say it's AI? Losing land is already a crime, but lying to the people, treating us like idiots, that makes you enemies of the nation. A government afraid of the truth is already dead in the hearts of its people." To understand why this outrage is so dangerous to the regime, one must examine Article 440 of Cambodia's Criminal Code. Located within the chapter on national security crimes, it defines treason as any act that results in the secession or loss of national territory to a foreign power, or collusion with external forces that damages territorial integrity. The maximum penalty is life imprisonment. Under Hun Sen, this law was sharpened into a political weapon, repeatedly used to attack opposition figures accused of conspiring with foreign powers or compromising borders. It reinforced the narrative that only the CPP could safeguard the nation. But today, the shield has turned into a spear. When the government itself commands the military and yet loses control of territory, Article 440 rebounds with lethal force. Citizens now ask, whom does the law apply to, the weak or everyone? Opposition groups, overseas activists, and domestic human rights lawyers have exploited Article 440 with strategic precision. They do not call for riots or overthrow, moves that would justify violent repression, but instead demand strict adherence to the Constitution and the rule of law. Online legal forums have erupted with meticulously crafted petitions arguing that territorial integrity is constitutionally sacred, that the head of government and commander-in-chief bear ultimate responsibility, and that losing territory through incompetence, strategic failure, or deliberate concealment constitutes treason or, at minimum, criminal negligence under the spirit of Article 440. The slogan, "When the king commits a crime, he is punished like a commoner," has resurfaced as bitter political folklore. Citizens argue, if a poor man can be jailed for stealing a chicken, if a Facebook critic can be arrested, then why should a leader who loses villages, temples, and renders thousands homeless remain untouched? Cambodia's digital space has never witnessed such unified defiance. Most striking is the transformation of influencers, entertainment celebrities, TikTok stars, lifestyle bloggers who once avoided politics. Silence now risks losing their audiences. Dance videos and product reviews have given way to marathon live streams where influencers read Article 440 aloud and compare it to footage from the border. One popular food reviewer tearfully declared, "Our ancestors shed blood for this land. Now we lose it in peacetime, not because the people are weak, but because leaders are busy enriching themselves and lying. Silence now is complicity. Article 440 exists for moments like this." What is emerging is a massive court of conscience judging the regime's legitimacy in public view. The true cost to the Hun family is not merely lost land or temples, it is the collapse of a political myth carefully constructed over 40 years, the myth of the protector of national territory. In Khmer political culture, rooted deeply in Asian concepts of legitimacy, a ruler who cannot defend the land has lost the mandate of heaven. Hun Manet, once portrayed as a modernizing, Western-educated reformer, now stands severely damaged. Trapped between his father's shadow and harsh geopolitical reality, he faces impossible choices. Domestically, repression would expose fear and shred the regime's own legal foundations. Internationally, Cambodia finds itself isolated. Thailand dominates militarily and economically, while Vietnam and Laos respond with chilling silence, tightening border security rather than offering support. The Article 440 crisis is a textbook political tragedy of the modern era. No power is absolute when it betrays a nation's core interests. The Han dynasty may have built highways and skyscrapers, but it neglected the most vital fortress of all, public trust. When citizens wield the regime's own laws to demand justice for every inch of national territory, they declare the end of blind obedience. The final verdict may not be immediate collapse, but something more devastating, a slow, irrevocable erosion of legitimacy. And history will remember that judgment long after the slogans fade. Thank you for watching this story. If you found it meaningful, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video. And now it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for staying with Societal Stories.